hunters because of its astonishing value potential, with some reports and stories claiming that certain rare examples with unusual errors and die varieties have sold or are valued as high as $68 million, an almost unimaginable leap from its humble 1 cent face value. And in this video, we will explore in detail the reasons behind such extraordinary value. The minting errors, striking mistakes, die variations, planchet anomalies, double dies, repunched mint marks, and all the possibilities that make a coin like this so valuable and so desired by collectors who are willing to pay fortunes for a unique specimen that has a combination of rarity, historical significance, and eye appeal. And to fully understand the story of the 1962D cent, we need to look back at the coin's background because the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation since 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. And by the early 1960s, billions of these coins have been minted each year, including at the Denver Mint, where the D mint mark signifies its origin. But despite these huge mintages, rare varieties can occur when mistakes slip through quality control, creating coins that are technically flawed, but in the eyes of collectors become works of art and unique treasures. And the 1962D cent is a perfect case where those rare errors elevate its value from a single cent to millions, because among these coins some were struck with double die obverse errors where the details on Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date itself show doubling under magnification, creating a distinct and collectible variety, and others exhibit repunched mint marks where the Denver D was punched more than once into the die, leading to overlapping impressions that make the coin rare and highly collectible, and still others have off-center strikes where the planchet was not properly aligned with the dies, leaving part of the design missing while the rest is shifted, giving the coin a dramatic and eye-catching look. And then there are clipped planchets, where part of the coin blank was cut irregularly, resulting in a coin with a missing crescent-shaped portion. And these errors, though technically mint mistakes, become rare collector items because they are scarce and each is unique. And when it comes to the 1962D penny, the stories of examples reaching astronomical values often revolve around a combination of errors, condition, and rarity, such as coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, if a 1962D cent was accidentally struck on a silver dime blank or a foreign coin planchet, that mistake would make it exceptionally rare and worth a fortune. And in numismatics, provenance also matters, meaning that if a coin has been part of famous collections, has been certified by leading grading services at the highest levels like MS-67 or MS-68 red, or has been featured in numismatic publications, its desirability and value skyrocket. And while billions of ordinary 1962D cents circulate with no special value beyond a few cents for their copper content, those rare anomalies stand out like shining stars, driving collectors into fierce bidding wars auctions, sometimes pushing price tags to levels one would never associate with a penny. And that is how the myth and reality of the $68 million penny takes root, because stories circulate of one-of-a-kind examples with multiple dramatic errors or perhaps unique historical circumstances that make them essentially priceless in the eyes of wealthy collectors. And while skeptics may doubt is that in the world rare demand astronomical history times how coins have such a or the set flowing hair dollar coin like 2D cent attribute, not just a cultural art, a symbol of fashion find for people change around the globe. 60 magnifiers, doubling, marks, strikes, die cracks, and other that their coin up itself is anyone could one of these in a jar of or a relative coin, turning a simple life and possibility fuels the legend 2 billions. actuals of rare varieties. There's the allure of the unknown, the idea that some undiscovered error may still be out there waiting to be found, and that possibility makes people hold on to their 1962D cents, check them, research them, and dream of striking it rich and beyond errors. Condition matters enormously because coins graded as mint state with full red luster are exponentially more valuable than those worn from circulation. And if such a coin with a major error survives in pristine condition, it becomes essentially unique, which again pushes value into uncharted territory. And so when we hear of a $68 million valuation for a 1962D penny, what we are really hearing is the culmination of rarity, condition, provenance, collector demand, and a bit of myth making all rolled into one. Creating a story so powerful and inspires treasure hunters everywhere. And in telling this story today, one potential value, but also its role in reminding us that history, mistakes, human craft can turn ordinary objects into extraordinary treasures, because each error coin carries a narrative of how it escaped the mint, how it survived, how collectors preserved it, and how the world came to recognize its uniqueness. And that is why the 1962D a tiny alloy, not just reverence in the and so this video to look close to stars of inspect that 2D one because limb proven that in the ordinary place maybe discover the necessary specimen. The next piece of mystery that turns red, even if not of the hunt, the three of these art ourselves through magic collecting as we more fast coins and incredible value in play. Today we dive stories in the world, a story that has intrigued numismatists, historians, and treasure hunters alike for decades. Because we're going to talk about the legendary 1979 1-cent USA coin, a coin with a face value of just a single penny, yet reported in rare cases and in rumors within the collecting community to be valued as high as $43 million due to unique errors, mint mistakes, and mysterious anomalies that turn an ordinary piece of copper-plated coinage into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So let's begin by understanding that the 1979 Lincoln cent was a coin produced by the United States Mint during a transitional era, with billions of regular coins struck that year. But among those billions, a few rare and extraordinary pieces have emerged that differ from the ordinary penny in subtle yet game-changing ways. Which means the potential for human error was high, and collectors have documented examples of misplaced mint marks, repunched mint marks, and even double marks, each of which can create a special category of rarity. And then there are the double die varieties where a mistake during the creating the details on the coin lettering in rust, date 79, pure double, and easable error that is wild. Doubled hundreds of dollars, the rarest and imaginable. And that is where the 40% begins, because when you combine rarity, hype, nation with wicks, storm, astronomical value, and not ignore the needed to be struck accident, planchet mination, nickel, because mistakes like these have happened throughout U.S. mint history. And in 1979, with millions of coins struck in multiple facilities like Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the chances for something slipping through were real, meaning that somewhere out there a penny might exist struck in silver-colored material, thinner, lighter, or with completely different metallurgical composition, and such an oddity could make collectors fight fiercely to own it, pushing its value upward to millions. And then comes the category of broad strikes, offsetter strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, cuds, lamination errors, and transitional composition mistakes, all of which can transform a coin from ordinary change into a spectacular rarity. For instance, say, 1979 penny struck 90% off-center, yet showing the full date would be incredibly eye-catching. Or a coin struck on a leftover blank from a previous year's metal supply might represent a transitional mistake. And collectors all because they simply change in between years. In the United States, with top-plated zinc, which was over in 1902, zinc-based blanks found their way into the presses in 1979. The resulting coins would be true treasures, and all these categories combined form the foundation of why this coin is whispered about as potentially worth $43 million in its rarest forms. Though, of course, not every 1979 penny is valuable, because most are worth only face value, but the thrill lies in the possibility. And collectors search tirelessly through rolls of pennies, wrapped coin collection, old piggy, to find that combination of evidence and such a section. So consider elves becomes tomorrow or repeat. Price can be seen in other Teen Eagle, T94, with millions. The humble penny, such hot impossible, simply rare by the passion of collectors and the uniqueness of the specimen. And what's fascinating is that the world of coin errors is full of nuances invisible to the casual eye, like die chips appearing as extra blobs on Lincoln's face or jacket, or die cracks that look like lightning bolts across the coin surface. And while small errors like these may bring modest premiums when they occur in dramatic fashion combined with other anomalies, they become the kind of piece that legends are made of, and over time, stories circulate, myths grow, and soon you have a narrative that a 1979 1-cent piece could be worth as much as $43 million because of an extremely rare confluence of factors. And whether or not any such piece has surfaced publicly, the excitement continues to build, drawing more people into the world of coin collecting. And this is where we remind our viewers that the thrill of the hunt is as rewarding as the discovery itself. Because every coin in your pocket could be an artifact that marks human evolution, and that is matter story, any formless artifact. So as collectors, examine these coins under magnification, searching for doubling, checking the weight to detect wrong planchets, inspecting the rim for broad strikes, or analyzing the surface for lamination flaws. They're participating in a global treasure hunt, one where patience and knowledge can lead to life-changing discoveries. And even though the majority be worth a few hundred. The multi-specimen keeps and to the 9-penny live wisps, 9 forums, collector clubs, 2 videos, miss it in our fan history of us that and as long make human being mistakes, and thus turn this combination valuable, rarity, and demand of value. Greedy single penny, nominally 9 worth $43 million. And the allure will continue as long as collectors dream of finding it in circulation, tucked away in a jar, or hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to recognize its worth. So if you're watching this and you have some 1979 pennies at home, it might be time to take a closer look, because who knows? Your penny could be the one that changes history. Today, as we dive into one of the most fascinating topics in the world of coin collecting, a subject that continues to excite both beginners and seasoned numismatists, the story of the 1988 1-cent USA coin, a coin that is usually seen as just another penny in the pocket, but in rare cases can be worth up to $32 million because of unique errors, minting mistakes, and rare mint mark variations that separate an ordinary coin from future. And as we were the incredible story, you will learn how a single copper-plated zinc from 88 could bring fortune if you happen to right. Now this coin carries such extraordinary value. Let's think about what makes coins special in the first place. Every coin issued by the U.S. Mint is intended to be uniform, precise, and exactly the same as every other coin of its type. But mistakes happen, and when those mistakes occur, they create what collectors call error coins. And error coins are often the most desirable pieces in numismatics because they represent unique moments when machinery, human oversight, or design changes intersected in an unexpected way. The case of the 9-cent coin, varieties and few into a never one of the discovered. Among them is 8 Lincolns of 1980. Also additional reverse as a 19 US Mint subtle design reverse of the link around the letter's initial. 1980, however, the reverse 1989 accidentally 88 obverse. A cool hybrid between difference G and Nish Sparrow. The 19s had a more space, and the 19 showed closer together. Who identified an 88 coin with a 1989 reverse can own a treasure because it is one of the most desirable transitional error cents. And these transitional varieties have always commanded strong prices at auctions since they are scarce by nature. But beyond the transitional reverse error, there are countless other possibilities for 1988 cents that could increase their value far beyond face value. Let's consider off-center strikes. When a coin is struck by the dies without being properly centered, it can show part of the blank planche exposed, depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is and how much of the design remains visible. Such coins could be worth hundreds or thousands. Now imagine a 1988 cent with both the transitional reverse error and a dramatic off-center strike. The rarity would be astounding, and collectors would pay enormous dollars. The motto "In God We Trust," or the lettering of people because of the most famous U.S. coin errors, with examples like the 1955 double die cent being worth tens of thousands. So if a strong double die variety were to be confirmed on a 1988 cent, it could potentially command astronomical prices. Next, we consider repunched mint marks before the advent of computerized minting technology. Mint marks were punched into dies by hand, which sometimes resulted in visible overlapping letters. Collectors love RPMs, repunched mint marks. Because they showcase of mid-1980 art Denver or Del highly sought, and when computers could scout, but variety always the unique state. Happenings. These marks were the true sing ruin is where the off dies struck each planchet and transit onto each other, or even struck through errors where foreign material such as grease or wire got between the die and the planchet, leaving an impression on the coin. Each of these error types adds character, uniqueness, and value. And when collectors find them on a 1988 cent, the market reacts with enthusiasm. Now let's talk about why the value could reach figures as high as $32 million. While it may seem unbelievable, the world of coin collecting has already shown us examples of coins selling for millions at auction, such as the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, which sold for over $18 million, or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, which sold for over $10 million. These astronomical prices are driven not just by rarity, but by demand, history, and the allure of owning something so extraordinary. If a unique 1988 cent were discovered with an unprecedented combination of errors, perhaps a one-of-a-kind transitional reverse pair with an extraordinary striking error, it could become the holy grail of modern U.S. cents. And collectors with deep pockets would be willing to pay astonishing sums. The imagination of the coin community often drives the relative value of coins and went into rare 1980s in history. The late 1980s were a period when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with minor design adjustments and transitioning fully into zinc planchets with copper plating. These transitions created opportunities for mistakes, such as leftover dies being used, mismatched reverses, or slight changes in lettering, which means the 1988 cent is positioned right at the intersection of change, and coins from transitional years have historically been collectors. Think about the recop 1944, both optional, the $100% logic, more modern, accessible to collect, yet elusive piece. Many experience notice now, some 19 with an in cattle waiting to be, and that is one day finding a jar that firm behind transitional double error cent and watching it sell for millions at auction. That possibility is what keeps collectors excited. It fuels the treasure hunt mentality and makes videos like this one so engaging, because anyone watching today might already hold such a coin unknowingly. The journey of the 1988 cent does not end with transitional errors and mint mark mistakes. We also have to consider condition and grading. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC play a crucial role in determining value. A coin in mint state, especially those graded MS67 or MS68, can command multiples of the price of a lower grade coin. In fact, condition rarity can turn an already scarce error coin into a record-breaking sale. If a 1988 transitional reverse cent were to be discovered in superb gem mint state with blazing red luster and nearly flawless surfaces, collectors would line up to bid enormous sums. And as history shows, once bidding wars start among elite collectors, there's no telling how high the price might go. All of this together makes the story of a 1988 cent one of endless fascination. It is not just a penny. It is a window into the processes of the U.S. Mint, into the world of human error, into the quirks of machinery, into the passion of collectors, and into the extraordinary potential for ordinary people to stumble upon life-changing wealth in the most unlikely of places. When we say that a 1988 cent could be worth $32 million, we are not saying that every penny from that year is a fortune. We are saying that under the right combination of factors, rarity, uniqueness, error, condition, history, and demand, the sky truly is the limit. And that is why collectors never stop searching, never stop checking their change, never stop learning about varieties, and never stop believing that they might be the one to uncover the next great numismatic treasure. So as you continue on your own journey of coin collecting, remember to keep an eye on the humble 1988 cent. Because behind its plain copper-plated surface may one of the greatest stories of modern coinage. Hey, welcome back. We'll dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures in everyday pocket change. And today our focus is on one of the most talked about coins in the numismatic community. 1962D coin from the United States of America, a coin that looks like ordinary Lincoln mint with a mint mark, yet particular legendary among dealers and because of its value potential, with some reporting that certain rare unusual errors or are valued 68 unimaginable one. And in this video, we will explore in detail the reasons behind such extraordinary value, the minting errors, striking mistakes, die variations, planchet anomalies, double dies, repunched mint marks, and all the possibilities that make a coin like this so valuable and so desired by collectors who are willing to pay fortunes for a unique specimen that has a combination of rarity, historical significance, and eye appeal. And to fully understand the story of the 1962D cent, we need to look back at the coin's background because the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation since 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. And by the early 1960s, billions of these coins have been minted each year, including at the Denver Mint, where the D mint mark signifies its origin. But despite these huge mintages, rare varieties can occur when mistakes slip through quality control, creating coins that are technically flawed, but in the eyes of collectors become works of art and unique treasures. And the 1962D cent is a perfect case where those rare errors elevate its value from a single cent to millions, because among these coins some were struck with double die obverse errors were the details on Lincoln's profile. The inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date itself show doubling under magnification, creating a distinct and collectible variety, and others exhibit repunched mint marks where the Denver D was punched more than once into the die, leading to overlapping impressions that make the coin rare and highly collectible, and still others have off-center strikes where the planchet was not properly aligned with the dies, leaving part of the design missing while the rest is shifted, giving the coin a dramatic and eye-catching look. And then there are clipped planchets, where part of the coin blank was cut irregularly, resulting in a coin with a missing crescent-shaped portion. And these errors, though technically mint mistakes, become rare collector items because they are scarce and each is unique. And when it comes to the deep collection of errors, condition, and rarity, such as coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, if a 1962D cent was accidentally struck on a silver dime blank or a foreign coin planchet, that mistake would make it exceptionally rare and worth a fortune. Provenance also meaning that if a coin fame has been certified highest MS648 red, featured in nutions, ability, rocket, billions of ordinary cent with no special effused content, those rare anomalies stand out like shining stars, driving collectors into fierce bidding wars at auctions, sometimes pushing the price tags to levels one would never associate with a penny. And that is how the myth and reality of the $68 million penny takes root, because stories circulate of one-of-a-kind examples with multiple dramatic errors or perhaps unique historical circumstances that make them essentially priceless in the eyes of wealthy collectors. And while skeptics may doubt such valuations, the truth is that in the coin collecting world, rarity plus demand equals astronomical prices. And history has shown many times how unexpected coins have sold for millions, such as the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. So, when a coin like the 1962D cent emerges with unique attributes, it becomes not just a coin, but a cultural artifact, a symbol of numismatic passion, and a dream find for everyday people checking their change. Which is why collectors around the globe hunt tirelessly, examining 1962D cents under magnifiers, looking for doubling, repunched mint marks, off-metal strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, and other varieties that may set their coin apart. and the hunt itself is part of the excitement because anyone, theoretically, could stumble upon one of these valuable pieces in a jar of old pennies or a relative coin collection, turning a simple cent into a life-changing fortune. And this narrative of possibility is what fuels the legend of the 1962 D penny worth millions. Because in addition to actual documented sales of rare varieties, there's the allure of the unknown. The idea